Our story today is about a young 25-year-old vampire named Dracula. Ever since his father became the ruler of the vampire kingdom, their biggest enemy, the Lycan King, has been disturbing their peace. The Lycan King led his werewolf army into the vampire kingdom every full moon and wreaked havoc. He killed many vampires, including Dracula's parents. So Dracula trained all his life for this moment. He wanted to defeat the Lycans once and for all. Now, as we are about to hear, when the day of the final battle came, Dracula found himself facing an army of Lycans. He was outnumbered, but he wasn't intimidated. He charged into the Lycan ranks, his sword flashing like lightning. As he fought, he moved like a phantom, appearing and disappearing at will. With every move, he was a blur of fangs and fury. His eyes, glowing red in the darkness, seemed to burn with an inner fire. He fought not just for himself, but for every vampire whose life or limb the Lycans had taken. Yet despite his valiant efforts, as the night wore on, it became clear that even Dracula's superhuman strength and speed were not enough. The Lycans were relentless, their numbers seemingly endless. Just when he thought he might be overwhelmed, a figure emerged from the shadows. It was a young man, no older than Dracula, with tousled black hair and eyes that blazed with celestial light. He raised his hand, and with a voice that boomed like thunder, commanded the Lycans to halt. "Enough," he roared. "I am here." It was then that Dracula recognized him. It was Ren, the son of the vampire queen, who had inherited his mother's legendary sorcery power. Ren had been away for years, training in secret, preparing for this moment. Now he was back, and with him, hope had returned to Dracula's heart. Together, they fought as one, their powers and determination breaking the Lycans' assault. By dawn, the Lycan army was scattered, their numbers greatly diminished. The young vampire prince had reclaimed his birthright. But their victory was short-lived, for as the sun rose, casting its golden rays over the battlefield, a new threat appeared on the horizon. It was the Lycan King, accompanied by his most trusted generals. His eyes burned with hatred, his fangs bared in a snarl. In his hand, he held a staff that throbbed with dark energy. He raised it high and let out a battle cry that echoed across the land. "For Lucan!" He roared and charged forward, his eyes fixed on the young vampire prince. And so the last war started again. They fought for hours, neither side able to gain the upper hand. But as the night deepened, it became clear that the Lycan King was too powerful to defeat in open battle. Suddenly, an idea struck Dracula. He feigned a retreat, luring the Lycan King and his generals deeper into the forest. There, he knew, the full moon's power would be at its peak, enhancing the Lycan's abilities. It was a trap, and the Lycan King had walked right into it. As the full moon bathed the forest in its silvery light, the Lycan King transformed. But instead of being filled with power, he was engulfed in pain. His roar echoed through the forest, not one of triumph, but of agony. The pain was too much for him. He collapsed, his transformation gone wrong, his body racked with convulsions. Dracula took advantage of his distraction. He lunged forward, his sword flashing. The Lycan King tried to defend himself, but it was no use. Dracula's sword pierced his heart, and with a final cry, the Lycan King fell. With their leader dead, the remaining Lycans fled. The war was over. Finally, the young vampire prince stood victorious, but his joy was short-lived, for as he turned to go, he saw Ren lying on the ground, mortally wounded. "Ren," Dracula cried, rushing to his friend's side. "You saved me," Ren whispered, his voice weak. "The power of the moonstone," he said, holding out a hand. "It's too much for one so young." With that, he collapsed, his eyes losing their celestial glow. Dracula cradled his friend's body, his heart heavy with grief. He had won the war, but at what cost? As the sun began to rise, painting the sky with hues of gold and crimson, Dracula made a decision. He would honor his friend's sacrifice by protecting the balance of power, ensuring that neither vampires nor werewolves would ever again be enslaved by the darkness. And so the young vampire prince became the ruler of the vampire kingdom, his reign marked by wisdom and justice. He never forgot Ren's sacrifice or the heavy responsibility of protecting the balance of power. And as long as he reigned, there would be no more wars. That's all for today, folks. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, so you won't miss out on any of my awesome stories. Also, please tell us in the comments what you think about this story. We really want to know your opinion. Thanks for listening and see you next time.